What if I told you that you could live in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in San Francisco for a third of the price? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, today I'm going to show you a 3-bedroom condo that's in a location in Pacific Heights where it's super walkable to one of the best corridors in the entire city. It also has a park nearby that's amazing. It's a flat street, and the condo itself is pretty extraordinary and has some very special things about it. So let's go take a look. So this condo is going to be perfect for anybody who's actually moving into a next phase of life, whether that is a couple that is going to have a baby or thinking about having a baby, or the opposite side of the spectrum. Maybe it's somebody who's actually downsizing and they're looking to move into a new chapter of a smaller place, but in a super walkable location. I'm going to get to more of that in a minute. But this is my favorite room, and it's the living room. As you can see, we never stage with a TV. It's just something, obviously the TV would go right there. And speaking of TVs, we're going to be back every Monday at 5 p.m. So feel free to tune in if you want to watch more of our videos. This is one of my favorite rooms. The kitchen is my favorite. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But this room is epic. And what I like about it is the scale, meaning like how big it is, the ceiling height, right? So this is 1923 construction. And during that time, they just built things like wider. There was room to move around, right? You had like beautiful things like built-ins. You had fireplaces with the really nice mantle and hearth, like super, super nice details. They didn't spare expense on things like crown molding. So you have tons of molding throughout. And this is something that you see really in these period homes a lot. And you walk in and you're just like, wow, this is comfortable. This is a home I really want to be in. I love these windows. They are original. It's not a view, right? It's not like the bay. It's not building. It's not like high rises. But I love this about some of these streets where we're looking out onto beautiful homes and you're on a tree-lined street. It's just very, very pretty. The glass in these windows, it's 100 years old, and I can tell because it's got this wave to it. Some people hate that. I actually find it very beautiful. It's leaded glass, and that lead is like beginning to kind of melt, I guess. It's probably a better way to say it, but the windows are going to be fine. But if you wanted to replace these, you could. The thing to know in San Francisco is that if you're going to replace any windows, they need to look exactly like that. They don't let you just replace them with whatever you want. So San Francisco is very big on keeping the historic charm from the outside. You can do what you want inside, but outside it has to look pretty much identical. I actually was just at this house, $20 million house, and it had all these hatched mullions, and it took all the light away from the house. And also there was a bridge view, but you could barely see the bridge. But I was asking the realtor, I'm like, do we have to keep these for San Francisco? And he said, yes. Kind of crazy. So fireplaces, they're in a lot of these, right? It's a beautiful look, but actually using them, I don't know who really burns wood. Seems like a lot of work. I think people like the idea of it. There's a lot of no burn days in San Francisco. So I think most people, if they were going to use it, they would put a gas insert in there. But I will tell you, when we sell these homes, we always say it's decorative only because a lot of times the chimney is cracked. Our clients never used the fireplace. So you just want to have it inspected and then possibly replaced if necessary. But it makes it beautiful because you have all of the built-ins, all of the high ceilings. And when I talk about scale, I'm just talking about how wide this is. And if this were built today, there would literally be a dining room inside of this room. There'd be everything would be scooted over, and you'd have a table, and you'd be working it all in. So it's as tight as it can be. And I just love, love, love the scale. So let's go see the dining room, which is a big deal, you guys. Having a dining room, a lot of times it's an area for a dining table, but let's go check this out. So dining room, this paint color, it's my first time using this paint color. I love it. It's called Lush by Benjamin Moore, and it is gorgeous. We're using a lot of green right now. Green is super, super in. So anyway, if you want to steal this color, please do. Look at this dining room, you guys. It's massive. And to have a dining room, I feel like it's something that usually you see maybe in a more high-end house. But in these condos in Pacific Heights, you actually will see dining rooms like this. And so to have, the openness between living room, dining room, kitchen, it's not like a big great room, but it is like a really, really nice flow. And to me, it's very, very house-like. The floors in here, this is a white oak. My clients actually did a big renovation. So typically you would see an older oak that might be a little bit colored in these condos, but this was replaced with a white oak, and I think it's really nice. I feel like this more light color is more in and on trend right now. And then check out this kitchen, you guys. I mean, it's gorgeous. And interestingly enough, there's 6 condos in this building. In the other building, the kitchens kind of they actually end here. And this was the hallway. So my clients took the hallway back, and you do have to walk through here to get to the bedrooms. But actually, I think this is amazing because it made a nice big space. And you've got, you could have a little seating here. You've got a wolf range. You've got a Sub-Zero refrigerator. So really, really nice appliance package. And if you guys are ever thinking of doing a kitchen remodel, I will tell you, a kitchen that looks like this, it never goes out of style. I go to listing appointments at houses where the kitchen was done 20 years ago, and it could look like this 20 years ago, or it could look like this now, and it's just completely timeless. So this marble white cabinets, I haven't ever yet seen it go out of style. I'm not saying it never will go out of style, but I feel like this is the most timeless look that you could ever go with in a kitchen. One of the things that I love about this condo is that you have all of the bedrooms behind you. So you've kind of got this whole wing back there, and then up here is all of the entertainment space. So let's go back and take a look at the bedroom wing. So let's start in the primary. So this is the primary. And I love this color too. This is called Driftwood. If you're ever looking for a good color, I think it's a really nice grayish, for lack of a better word. But look at the scale, you guys. We have a king size bed. I mean, I'm sure if you're from out of town, you think this is just the way it should go. But in San Francisco, we don't get dressers and chairs and beds and then space to walk around. It's amazing. And I love this tree out here. I think it's just a beautiful vista. You probably can't see it in the camera, but there's some nice hillside views back behind me, which are really, really pretty. And what every primary needs, of course, is a walk-in closet, which I would love to have. And then in here, so they redid the kitchens, the bathrooms, everything. And I just think with this, again, they just did this marble, completely timeless look that really goes with this, I think this was built in 1923. So it just really goes with the architecture. But honestly, you guys, this look goes with anything. These floors in here are heated. Let's talk a little bit about who's the buyer for this place, right? My clients, they're a family of 5. So they have 3 kids. There's not a lot of families with 3 kids in San Francisco. It's just too expensive. The houses aren't big enough. But anyway, they have 3 kids. And they have 3 kids in this apartment. It actually worked really, really well for them. Well, we were looking for a house for them for 2 years. And after we finally found them a house, got them into contracts, and I came here and I saw this for the first time, I was like, I get it. I understand why you took so long to buy, because practically speaking, you have 3 bedrooms back here. This works really well. And check out this one. So this one, it's just big. So you could they had 2 twin size beds in here. We didn't stage it that way, but again, such a beautiful view, such great light. Such great scale. So you could easily have 2 kids in here, or you could have, a bed and an office. And I haven't forgotten, I'm going to tell you more about the buyers that are looking into this place. But let's first see, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. This is the second bath. Again, like very classic. You've got the marble tile, subway, marble, like it never, ever, ever goes out of style. Simple. And then this color I love too. I have to get back to you on the name of it, but I thought it turned out really, really beautiful. Not sure if you can see it as well in the camera. It's kind of like a purplish brown. It's really, really beautiful. So this was their nursery. It's obviously a smaller bedroom, but you could either use this as an office, a nursery, or as a full-size bed. We always, even though this would probably look cuter as a nursery, when we stage stuff, we always put the biggest bed that we can get in the room, because even though this is tight, the thing is that people can't work backwards. So if I had put a crib in here, then the buyers who came in here, they're going to be like, oh, it's basically 2 bedrooms and an office. They would not ever see this as being able to fit this size bed. So in order to sell a house for the highest price, I want a bed in here, because bedrooms sell for more than offices. Let's go back to the kitchen and I'll fill you in on a few other things. So I promised I was going to tell you a little bit about the buyers who were coming in here. We only had 1 public open house before we received multiple offers. Now, in San Francisco, that's not super unusual. We had priced this at $1.995, so basically $2 million, and we received multiple offers, and it's in contract for $2.150 with an all-cash offer. The buyers that were coming in here, have 2 sections of buyers on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. So you have young couples, some with like maybe a baby just starting out, some not, but love to live in Pacific Heights and really want to be like in this location of Pacific Heights, which I'm going to show you a little bit more about. So super flat blocks, super walkable. And then you also have people on the other side of the spectrum. So like older, and when I say older, I don't really mean older because I'm 46. So I'm talking like 50s, not far away from me. People that are downsizing. This is really a thing. Let's say you move out of the city with your kids because you want to have like bigger lots, and maybe you want some public schools that are located in other areas, and you move down to say Palo Alto. But you used to live in Pacific Heights, and then your kids grow up, they go to college, and you want to come back, because you have spent the last like 20 years going to soccer games, going to birthday parties, and you're ready to like re-embrace with your partner, going to dinner, walking around, maybe having a cool pad for your kids to come back to. So we see this a lot. And sometimes they buy condos like this one. And sometimes, we've sold actually much more expensive, like big houses to people who have done that because they want to have a big enough space for their kids to come back with. Basically, those are kind of your 2 buyers that you're seeing here. Also, there's a lot of buyers who have parents that are helping them also buy. And so we see that a lot with the boomer generation having some extra money to help their kids start off. So those are going to be your buyers. Now, case in point, in this building, there are 6 units. 3 of them are actually not occupied by full-time owners. So they are people who live somewhere else and come here and use it as a pied-à-terre. So you see a lot of that in this area. I always teach my clients that every single house or condo has things to compromise on, right? And this one has things to compromise on too, which would have made the house sell for more. But one of the things that it doesn't have is like easy access to a backyard. So let me show you the backyard situation. Now, this is a very common situation in this part of town, but if you had like a walkout backyard situation in a condo like this, it might sell for like $300,000 more. So let me show you the yard. Let's go down. So we're going down these stairs, right? And let's be clear. You're probably not going to do this, right? Because you have a park 2 blocks from here that is epic. So this is the backyard. So it's a big backyard. It's pretty, but like, I don't think people are coming back here. I think they're going to the park. I think they're going around. It does have outdoor space, but having like different outdoor space could make this sell for like several hundreds of thousands of dollars more. And with condos, the thing with outdoor space that you have to kind of pay attention to is like, sometimes it's private, sometimes it's shared. And depending on where your unit is in relation to that yard, it can be kind of awkward. So we actually have a place coming up on Vallejo very soon. And it has like a private exclusive deck that then is over top of a shared yard. But the access to that yard is kind of like this one. So for that house, it's gonna feel like that whole thing is private exclusive use to that unit, which is like a pretty cool thing. So that's one example of how you can get a yard. Okay, let's go walk around. All right, so now I've come outside and I'm on this very flat block, right? So that's one of the things in San Francisco. If you have a flat block on your way to somewhere that you want to go, it's considered really awesome. So also you can see the building is, it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful on the outside. It's really pretty architecture. There is parking for this unit. I'm not going to show it to you because it's not that interesting, but I'll talk to you about it. Let's walk and see the park. So the parking here, it actually was a little tricky. And I think sometimes if people are coming from out of town or even when they're in town, they think the parking is going to be better than it is. Just ratified yesterday, like a $6.5 million house. And the cars, like people had to like test the cars and it was tight, like even in a $6.5 million house. So like when you're buying a condo, sometimes you have a nice wide space and sometimes you don't. In this particular one, it was like this rotational situation that I honestly have never seen before. But it would have been better if that wasn't there. So I think actually that impacted the price by about $50,000 or $75,000 because parking in this location on the street is horrible. It is not fun. So you definitely want to have parking. And I think the reality is that parking in that building is actually pretty easy because half the time no one's there. But on paper, it looks a little scary. Anyway, nice flat block. As I'm walking here, I'm crossing the street and I'm crossing over Divisadero. We call it Diviz. Of course, someone on here on my comments will probably comment that I'm like an out-of-towner and no one calls it that. People love to do that. It's very interesting to me. But anyway, so we have Town coming up here, which is a private school. There's about like 4 or 5 private schools that are walkable from this area. You have Town, you have Stewart Hall, you have Hamlin, you have convents, you have university. So they're like literally all walkable from here. That's another buyer for you, right? Like, I'm gonna be honest. So my son goes to school over here. I have always dreamed, I'm a big dreamer, not always, but lately after working with a lot of those clients that once they get to 50, they buy a condo here, like, oh yeah, that would be pretty cool. But then when my son got into school over here and he's taking this big long commute to school, I'm thinking, well, if I'm ever gonna buy a condo over here or a house over here, maybe I should just do it now so that he can be closer to school. Anyway, I don't think that's happening for me, but you can see how this would happen for a lot of people, right? Like, this area is always gonna have a huge draw because it has all of those schools, and the schools are incredibly expensive. We're coming up on Alta Plaza Park, but there's several parks in the area, you guys. So you've got this one, which has basketball courts, tennis courts, there's a playground. We have a guy out here monitoring for traffic. All right, we're gonna see how this works out with my hair today, you guys, because it gets windy out here, like even a little bit of wind. Okay, so we have a lot of parks in close proximity. We just walked 2 blocks. Not very far from here, there's Lafayette Park, which is a very similar park, really beautiful, amazing views. And then you also have that way, like 2 blocks from the apartment, is the Lion Street Steps, which I'm gonna see if I have time to take you over there. because it is honestly one of my favorite things in the entire city, like for a workout, down the steps. But I just wanted to pop in here and show you this park. Let's take a look at the views. There's gonna be a lot of people out here in the playground, walking their dogs. It's a beautiful day. This is like a normal, I would say, San Francisco day. Right now it's about 70 degrees. You have a tiny bit of wind. It's sunny. It's kind of what the weather's gonna be like most of the time. I think the views from Lafayette Park are a little better, but as I'm walking over here, it opens up to the water, which you do not get. So I think it depends on what kind of views you want. As you can see, you've got all of these people here, sitting here looking at the bay, which is quite pretty. Okay, so down here you've got some, I don't know if it's tennis courts or basketball courts, I can't remember. Pickleball is also huge. Everyone's playing pickleball these days. It's actually pretty fun. I've gone out and done it with my kids. We have a video coming up on pickleball, believe it or not. Pickleball in real estate. That's going to be a good one. So all these like nice little parks. San Francisco has a ton of parks. We have Fillmore Street coming up, which is what I want to show you. So we're about 2 more blocks to Fillmore, which is an amazing walking corridor for restaurants. So even though you've got that beautiful kitchen inside of that condo, I honestly don't know how much you're going to use it, because you could step outside of your door and you could be into like a dozen really fantastic restaurants. I'm going to show you a few of my favorites, but also from this location, from the Jackson Street location where we were, you have like multiple corridors to choose from. So you could go to Fillmore, which I think is one of the best walking corridors, because not only does it have really great restaurants and coffee shops, it also has some really good shopping. And I would say that's something that sets it apart from many walking corridor streets like 24th Street in Noe Valley or Castro Street in Castro. They don't have as many like retail shopping opportunities. You can also walk over to Sacramento Street from Jackson. It's maybe 4 or 5 blocks. The difference between, I'd say, Sacramento and Fillmore Street, Sacramento doesn't have a ton of restaurants and coffee shops. It's got like a few. There's Sorrel, which I think, you'll have to look it up, but I think is Michelin rated. And then they also have Spruce, which is super famous and a fantastic place to go eat. And then there's like a coffee shop called As Quoted that's really cute. And maybe there's like a few other things sprinkled in, but like mostly it's a bunch of interior designer shops and like home goods shops. The majority of the time you're going to come down to Fillmore. And then as you're walking, like right now, like I get to walk and see these views, you guys. Like it's gorgeous. What I love about walking in Pacific Heights is that the peaks of the views, but also the architecture. I love looking at it. I don't know if it's just me and I'm a junkie, because I used to be an interior designer and now I sell real estate and I love houses. Okay, this hair thing may not work. All right, so Landry says I look good, so we're gonna go with that. If I don't, comment below. No, please don't. Please don't. I love to walk and look at the architecture and the views. The thing with Jackson Street, like that location is so prime because of this flatness. A lot of Pacific Heights is really quite hilly. With hills though, come views, often from houses, which is also amazing. I think that's the trade-off, is that you have to decide, do you want to live on a flat street and have easy access, or do you want to live on a hill and then get a little bit of a workout in, which I'm quite frankly always a fan of. Okay, we're coming up on Fillmore. Right in front of me is the Mayflower. So we've got Blue Bottle Coffee here, which is a fantastic coffee. I would say the majority of some of the best parts of the street starts a little further down. We'll walk down there. I'm just gonna walk and talk to you guys and let you kind of see a few things. That Mayflower thing cracks me up because all the high school kids go and hang out there, and my son gets really embarrassed when he runs into me, and he would die if he ran into me with a videographer. So that would be hilarious. They pop in there in between classes. I'm gonna just show you some of my favorite things. There's a lot of stuff on here, you guys. So you could have like a new place to eat at, not every day, but you know, you could recycle through like 12, 15 places. But as we're walking and talking, I was gonna talk to you about price. Why do realtors set price? Like when do they set offer dates, that sort of thing? So on Jackson, we actually didn't set an offer date. We took offers as they came. And I had a feeling we were going to get multiple offers. So as soon as one offer came in, we called the other people and let them put in an offer. So it's a little different than setting an offer date. And it just depends on the listing agent and kind of like, we don't have a one size fits all. It depends on what's going on. There was a strategy there, which I'll explain to you offline sometime if you really want to know it. More than likely in San Francisco, it depends on the place. Realtors are going to find kind of the bottom of the market. Depends on the price too. But in this price point, they're going to kind of find what things are selling for and sell it, like list it a little bit lower to create that urgency. Because what happens if it's priced higher is a lot of times it sits because buyers are not used to that. And then it sells for even less. So even though buyers sometimes think that they don't like that strategy, when the listing agents give them a different strategy, they think something's wrong and they don't take them up on it. Okay, so we've got Palmer's over here. This is an excellent place to get a drink. You got the Snug over here. Great place to go shopping. So there's tons of like high-end boutiques. I'm not super into like high-end boutiques, but there's lots of them here. So Joe and the Juice, I love. I know it's a chain, and a lot of San Franciscans, they don't like chains, but I actually kind of like some chains because I like to know what I'm getting sometimes when I'm traveling. And like Joe and the Juice, I know what I'm getting. So Salt and Straw, like right now, this smells so good. You have to have like extra willpower to walk by there and not get an ice cream because they make their own cones. So when you walk by, you can just like smell that cone and it smells delicious. And they have like crazy flavors like creepy crawly, blackberry tamale. I love ice cream, but it doesn't, like I can't really actually do dairy, but I do love it, but I don't do it. So bookstore, we don't have tons of them left, but we do have some of them. This one is owned by Green Apple Books. I love Jonathan Adler for like a quick gift. They have amazing stuff in there, like to gift. If you want to buy me a gift, that's where you should get it. I really want one of those backgammon kits. They're so beautiful and they're $500 and I don't have anywhere to put them out, so it seems a little crazy. Across the street over there, there's like a leather shop, Cayuga, and that's also a great place to buy a gift. They have these beautiful bags and they'll put initials and stuff on them. So like even like for makeup bags or anything, it's like really high quality, and I think they're local, actually. So down here, there's a grocery store, Molly Stone's, fantastic, expensive for groceries. I don't know that you want to shop there every day or have that be your only shopping place, but they do have great groceries. And I guess if you think like, if you ever thought Whole Foods was expensive, then you should go there and you'll realize like how much it's on sale. So this is one of my favorite spots. This is an Italian spot called Taylor and Son. They have really great Italian food and pretty solid drinks as well. Across the street, there's a couple of things. You have Harry's Bar, which has been around forever. It's like a really nice place to get a drink. And then next to that, this used to be the Grove, but I just ate here the other day with my husband. It's called Little Shuckers. Banh Mi. This is actually owned by one of my clients, Denise. Shout out to Denise. If you like banh mi, like amazing, amazing. So Boyachek, that used to be a donut shop. I didn't actually know where this was, but my son's been talking about this and he like loves these bagels. And he sends me like a thing for $23 for like a sleeve of bagels because he thinks he has to have those bagels. I think they taste just like any other bagel. Personally, I don't know. I don't get it. And I do not want to pay $23 for 6 bagels to like toast at my house at home. I think the ones at Safeway are fine, which is what I told him, but he keeps buying them. And that's the first time I've seen that. It looks like a cool shop. Kiehl's. This is like, honestly, like the best staple face stuff, I think. I'm a big fan, huge fan of Kiehl's. And we also passed my facialist back there, Carol. She's phenomenal if you need a facial. So one of my favorite places which you guys might think this is still, again, it's a chain. I think it's only a San Francisco chain. They have I think they have 2 of them, is this Woodhouse Fish Co. So my favorite food is sushi, followed by lobster rolls. I love lobster rolls, and I don't eat them every day, but I used to go buy myself one every time I sold an expensive house. Actually, I sold an expensive house yesterday, so I should go. Landry, we should go get a lobster roll. Anyway, I wouldn't say they're the best lobster rolls in the world, but they're the best I can find in San Francisco. They're good. I would take them. It's just fun to walk down the street, do a little shopping, grab your things. So Copra. So I think this is actually one of the better, I don't want to say best restaurants in San Francisco. I love food. It's actually really hard in San Francisco to find South Indian food. And for those of you who do not know, my husband is South Indian. Funny story, if you own your own business and you do a lot of marketing, you'll Google yourself too. But if I Google myself, because I'm checking on my marketing, the next word that autofills, if I put Ruth Krishnan, is husband. So you guys are really curious about who my husband is. So I'm telling you, he's a South Indian guy. This food is really, really good. Most Indian restaurants in the city are North Indian. You used to actually have dosa, which actually was here and was a fantastic restaurant. Anyway, this is such a beautiful building. I don't know if we can see in there, they're closed. And I walked down 2 of the not super nice fancy blocks of Fillmore Street to get here for you guys, so that deserves a subscribe. If I ever knew one, do it. First of all, we were at Fillmore, which the Boom Boom Room is down there. Landry's smiling. Have you been to the Boom Boom Room? Get your groove on. It's super fun. You can go get your dance on. You might run into Landry there. You have the Fillmore. If you're a music person, you definitely know the Fillmore. They've been around forever, and all kinds of big bands. I think the problem is that it's really small. So the real big bands, they don't want to perform there because they want real big venues. But every once in a while, somebody big is in the city and they'll do a last minute show there. I heard Prince did one time. That'd be crazy. Anyway, that obviously is never going to happen again. We're about done here, you guys. It was a good street though, right? I want to run over and show you the Lion Street steps. I can show you some B-roll of them, but I want to take you there because honestly, it is literally one of the best locations in the entire city. And you can walk there from that apartment. And I do think it's a huge draw to why you'd want to live here. So let's run over and take a look. So I'm walking over the Lion Street steps because I want to show you, but you guys, so this house right here, I have to check and see if it's sold. But it's so cool. I hope Landry's getting the whole thing because it's not just the outside. Oh my God. I called it the Harry Potter house. I sent it to a client. It's would be an amazing, amazing house to entertain in. And so as we walk up here, Landry, get a shot of everything over there. The houses, this is what people think of when they think of Pacific Heights. We just passed over Pacific and we're walking down Divisadero. And we're going to take a left up here on Broadway, which is going to run us right into the Lion Street steps. We're going to go down Gold Coast. Very, very epic, beautiful San Francisco. These houses, you guys, they're not going to get you in there for $2 million. Depending on if you're on Broadway or Vallejo or Green. We're talking about anywhere between 10 and about $40 million. Check out that view over there. I'm going to get the houses more than I'm going to get me because they're a lot more interesting than me. You can just see kind of some of the grandeur of the homes here. They are really, really beautiful. On the south side, a lot of these are built up really high because they're trying to pass those houses so they can get a view because that's the bay behind us. When I was talking earlier about the downside for being up on a hill with views is that most people don't consider this area super walkable down to Fillmore because it's a little hilly and it's a bit of a trek, but I did it for you. You can also, even from Jackson, the listing that I was talking to you about, you can go down to Union Street, right, from here. Now, for most people, yeah, they're probably going to take an Uber because it's a bit of a walk, like from Jackson to Union Street, and it's hills coming back especially, but even going there. But Union is another really, really great corridor. So you'd probably shake it up and like jump in an Uber and go have dinner down on Union or Chestnut Street if you live in this section of town. So one thing that's interesting about buyers in Pacific Heights is they're kind of like do or die. There's a few neighborhoods that are like that. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this house. It's just stunning. I'm not gonna like point out like specific people's houses because I don't think they would like that. You guys probably heard about the $70 million sale in San Francisco, and you heard who bought that house, but it was the largest sale that's happened ever that was on this street. It was not an on-market sale, but a really, really amazing house. If you look hard enough, which I did, you can find, I think Architectural Digest did a piece on it. So back to the do or die buyer. They either want to live in Pacific Heights, a lot of them, or nowhere. And sometimes when they're looking at that location, not nowhere, but they'll just rent. Like it's either I'll buy here or I'll rent here, but I'm not gonna like go and live in Noe Valley, for example. Over here, you see there's a party going on. I was gonna say that's the decorator showcase house, but actually I don't think it is. So maybe it's like a, probably a political fundraising. I'm just not even gonna say it. Back to the buyers. There may be some buyers that will consider the Marina or Cow Hollow or even Presidio Heights along with Pacific Heights. But that's kind of it. They really like want to be in those north side locations, but many of them also really only want to be in Pacific Heights. So there's a few neighborhoods that are like that, and I call that like do or die. If you want to live in Pacific Heights, the price is, it's one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city, but you can get a condo between like 1.9 and 2.5. I mean, they go higher. I've sold them all the way up into the 4s and the 5s. They go even higher than that, trust me. But you can get something like Jackson for, 2.1, 2.2, right? If you want a single family home, you're kind of looking at an entry level price of like $5 million, but really the average is like just over $6 million. So the average priced home is just over $6 million. And it may not be like a totally, fully done home. It is definitely an expensive neighborhood, but hopefully you can see why. I wanted you to like get a really good understanding of what it's like to live here and why people choose to live here. And before we end, we are now at the Lion Street steps, and I'm gonna show you why I love them so much. So you guys, look at this. Like this is to me like just epic. Like this is just such an amazing view. And if I lived here, I would be like running these steps with my weight vest. It would take me time, but I would do it. I love to like work out. I'd be up and down these things like multiple times and like getting the best workout and getting that view. Like, I just think it's sick. So you can walk straight down all the way down to Christie Field from here. Christie Field for Pacific Heights, you're not walking there very often unless you're, trying to get a workout because it takes a lot of time. But I definitely think you're going to spend time down in the Marina, down in Cow Hollow when you live in Pacific Heights. So to wrap it all up here for you today, if you liked the condo that I showed you and this kind of lifestyle sounds good to you, that one's gone. But there's others like it. And if you just want to learn a little bit more or you want to think about selling, feel free to reach out. And if you're interested in another tour like this one of a more expensive house in a different neighborhood, watch this video. We're here every single Monday at 5 p.m. doing videos like this one. And I hope that you'll come back and check it out. Feel free to contact us in all the ways down below.